Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Joe and Joe Weather Show on this Thursday night, the 17th of June, 2021, brought to you by the folks at Omni True Value Hardware at 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon. 631-756-1125 is their phone number. They're on Long Island, a hardware store that's got everything you need, especially with the upcoming hurricane season. Just make sure all your emergency supplies are handy, so you might want to stop by and freshen up a few things. If you need safety cans for gasoline, or maybe you need a new generator, just give them a call or head down to Omni, and the website is omnitruevalue.com. Wholesale holiday lighting by Giannini, your complete holiday lighting specialist. Whether you want to do this maybe to earn some extra money for Christmas, or you just want your house decorated, they're at 162 Ocean Avenue in Lindenhurst, New York. Also on Long Island, 631-957-5106. And the website is liholidaylighting.com. So we have Potential Tropical Cyclone 3. And at first glance, you look at it, Joe, I got the satellite already up there, and you look at it, and there's all this cloudiness and showers and thunderstorms in the central and eastern Gulf. But where the center of this is supposed to be, there isn't a whole lot going on. And we talked about this last night, this kind of stretched out north-south look that it has, and a few other obstacles regards to strengthening. I have nothing has changed my mind on this as far as what the future for this this potential tropical cyclone is concerned.
Everything is on the east side. The track of the storm taking it into the Gulf coastal area by late Friday night, and then after that, it seems to take a track, Joe, across the southeastern United States, maybe exiting out back into the ocean south of New York City
Way
early
south.
on Monday, but way to the south, way
south.
and doesn't. And actually, we are looking at wet weather from late Monday into Tuesday, but that's going to be due not to this potential tropical system, but to the next weather front. We have two cold fronts to look at. One that'll be moving in later on Saturday and Saturday night, and another one moving through on Tuesday, as we continue in this pattern where it doesn't seem like it wants to warm up anytime soon, at least over the next week or 10 days, at least in this part of the country, as compared to what's going on out west, where they're just absolutely burning up.
Yes, we're going to check that out also. We'll do the tropical storm, potential tropical cyclone first, and then we'll move on to the heat, and then we'll deal with our rather beautiful, uneventful weather. Once again, you look at the satellite, it's not often that you actually see clouds in the northeast, or whatever few clouds there are, they're actually moving from north to south. So it just gives you an idea of what's going on in the upper atmosphere. If the upper air winds are from the north, yeah, it's, excuse me, it's not quite, thank you, not likely that you're going to see much of anything. And of course, that's sinking air, it's dry air. We had dew points again down in the upper 30s and low 40s today. I mean, I just think we should. I wonder, Joe, just real quick, I wonder whether we should remember these dates, because this was very much what we've been experiencing here is very much like September, or in the case of North Georgia, maybe more like mid-October. But the bottom line is, this is this was an incredibly beautiful stretch. It's going to be awfully hard to repeat this going into the next 2 months.
Well, you say that now, but maybe one of those summers where we just have this type of pattern shaping up with every once in a great while a period of humidity and very warm to hot temperatures, as it looks like will be the case on Saturday of this week. And right now, Joe, by the way, at Montgomery, Orange County Airport, Montgomery, 74 degrees, dew point 41, visibility unlimited, 10 miles an hour, 10 miles or more, and absolutely gorgeous conditions out there. I'm just checking to see how low they got this morning. They got to 42 degrees at Orange County Airport.
Wow, that's insane. That's insane. I got down to 50 this morning.
Wow, that's insane. That for Georgia.
Yeah, I was 50 this morning. My high was 80, and there wasn't a cloud in the sky. I guarantee you the dew points were probably in the upper 40s and low 50s. I didn't really look. It certainly felt that way. The Michael McGuire hitting super chat, banging super chat early. Thank you, Michael. You asking about the impacts as far as rain for North Carolina is concerned. I'm going to get into all of that, so I'll take you through some of. I got a bunch of different maps to show, but first things first. Take a look at what's going on in the Western Gulf of Mexico, and as we pointed out, not a whole lot of cloud cover here, and the potential tropical cyclone is sitting at about 22 north and 92 west, roughly. And that's just about there. So it's kind of on the edge of all that cloudiness and showers and storms that are running up through the central and eastern Gulf of Mexico. They've been moving across the South Florida again today. But I'm going to take that little mark away and just look at the motion of the clouds. The low clouds, there's a little turning underneath there. There's some kind of very broad low-level center. But you also you've got higher level clouds that are moving west southwest. They're coming from the west southwest and moving over the top of the lower clouds, which are turning in that counterclockwise fashion. There's some moderate wind shear here that's going on in the Western Gulf, and that is one inhibiting factor. And also, this deep trough that's in the eastern part of the United States, in a way, is exhibiting its own little influence on all of this. It's kind of helping to stretch this thing out that's in the Gulf in this elongated north-south orientation. I think you have roughly maybe 36 hours before landfall, sometime maybe less. It's going to be awfully hard for this to get much beyond a minimal tropical storm. The rain issues are going to be there regardless, but as far as getting a wrapped up low-level center that creates some minor wind issues, I don't see this becoming a big problem from that standpoint.
Yeah, and since as the Hurricane Center said, since we're dealing with a very broad area of low pressure, and the center is not really all that well defined at this time, the initial estimate of motion of this thing, which is due north, 360 degrees at 8 knots, is quite uncertain. And so don't be surprised if, as this thing tries to get its act together, that they may actually show a different center or positioning of a different center. It is expected to move northward into a weakness in what is otherwise a ridge of high pressure, subtropical ridge of high pressure for the next day or so. And then after it makes landfall, as you pointed out, Joe, within the next 36 hours, somewhere along the central Gulf Coast, it's expected to turn to the northeast. That'll be on the northwest side of another high pressure system that's near Florida. So the official track, in part, is almost like guesstimate, but the best that they're able to do right now is to come up with a consensus, a compromise between the European and the GFS.
Right.
But again, it's so disorganized right now that, again, it's difficult to say with any surety or certainty exactly where a landfall is going to be specifically. And I agree with you. This is going to be more of a rainmaker as opposed to a wind maker. I wouldn't be too concerned about such things as storm surge and high winds if that be the case. But it does look like it's packed with a lot of tropical moisture. So we might be looking at, places that get in excess of 5 or 8 inches of rain before this is all over said and done.
Yeah, if we, following the clouds, you're actually seeing the clouds here in the middle Mississippi Valley and back through Texas. They're actually moving to the southwest because of the big upper high that's sitting out to the west and creating the super heat wave that's underway there. There's a weakness here in the Western Gulf. You see the low-level clouds are also moving from northeast to southwest. These clouds here in the eastern Gulf are going to the north. You've got the trough in the east that is beginning to pull away. The axis of that trough is just offshore and pulling away out to the east. So it's developing inside, in between all this stuff, and it's having to deal with all the issues that are being produced by all these other systems around it. This is among the many obstacles that I think it has as far as strengthening is concerned. But rain is going to be the bigger deal here when it's all said and done. Now, the Hurricane Center, as you said on their forecast, which I have here somewhere, I put it, there it goes. So the one thing you would have to, you want to be careful of, you alluded to this, is that if the center were to reform further east, closer to where that deeper convection is, that would be the one way where you could have you could have something maybe a little more developed. But there's still a question of time. Too many other things are just wrong in the upper atmosphere. And if you look at the track and where they have the warnings up, the blue is where they put the tropical storm warnings up. There's nothing on the west side. I mean, there's absolutely nothing. And I think that
Right.
That speaks to what we're dealing with in terms of the character and the signature on the satellite. The track is to the north. By 1 a.m. Saturday, it's just off the coast of Louisiana, somewhere near Intercoastal City or just to the east of Intercoastal City, and then goes northeast from there as a depression in southern Mississippi, northern Alabama, and then right over my house Sunday afternoon, the center of the low, which means that I'm probably going to be pouring rain here. WPC, I pulled up two maps for WPC. So this is the potential, this is on their day 3. So this covers the period Saturday morning into Sunday morning. They don't go beyond 3 days on this, unlike SPC, which goes out with the 8-day forecast. But on the 3-day forecast, they've got a moderate risk of flash flooding in southeast Louisiana, southeastern Mississippi, southern Alabama. They got the marginal risk up to about me Sunday morning, but the time frame for areas from northeast Georgia north and east would be Sunday after, more like Sunday morning into Sunday evening. So we'll have to see what these guys do with this tomorrow. But when you look at their forecast rainfall amounts, they still have this area of 7 to 10 inches, southeast Louisiana, southern Mississippi. This is cumulative now, and into southern Alabama. So that kind of matches up with where they have the moderate risk of flash flooding. The dark red is 2.5. The first red area is 2.5 inches. That reaches up into western South Carolina and westernmost North Carolina. Then the amounts after that start to tail off a bit, and this makes sense if you're going to. How much of an identifiable feature are you going to have left? I'm not sure of. And I'm just wondering whether this thing could just come inland and the low center will move along and then the rain will just sort of spread itself out and gradually start to thin out over time, which is why you don't have big amounts, say, in North Carolina or in southeastern Virginia. These rain amounts that they're forecasting there are nothing. They're nothing really to worry about.
Well, that may be true, but then again, on the from the Storm Prediction Center, I don't want to jump ahead here, but
I got the map ready for you.
Where they have the storm, the wide area where the storm potentially could landfall, they do have at least a marginal risk of severe for both for both Friday and Saturday, and so even though what we're seeing in terms of QPF, quantitative precipitation forecasts of, let's say, 2, 3, 4 inches, you get hold of a nice little zone of convection, and you could very easily double those amounts. Not widespread doubling, but that's what I said before. That it looks like there could be some areas out there that could possibly receive 5, 6, 7 inches. And some of that could be attributable to convection, heavy thunderstorm activity, to go along with all the tropical moisture that this thing is sucking inland off the Gulf of Mexico. So
I was
there's going to be a lot of rain. And
Yeah, I was just referring to the areas further north. When you get up into North Carolina and you go up to Virginia, because Mr. McGuire had asked about the impacts maybe to the Piedmont in North Carolina. That's why I was just kind of thinking that, just judging from what saw on the models, that I don't think you're going to see huge amounts of rain that far north.
Yes. Yeah, that's by that time. By that time, frictional drag, if you will help to wring out a lot of the moisture, again, mainly over the Gulf coastal areas, but there'll still be a fairly good amount of rainfall, 1 to 2 inch amounts that'll continue northward up across Georgia and the Carolinas. And who's to say what happens thereafter? Maybe as it moves off the Virginia Capes or the Outer Banks on Monday. So something to watch, but I'm sure that it will. The way the National Hurricane Center has been utilizing GOES 16, I'm sure that the propensity has been to name a storm that might not otherwise may have gotten a name years ago, but this one certainly looks like it will be Claudette. They give that 90% probability within the next 24 to 36 hours, if not sooner.
Right. So just I've got the latest GFS run, so we can take a look at that. And I actually, instead of using the radar, I laid on the rainfall amounts. I just want to, Anthony Orr hitting super chat tonight. Thank you, Anthony. Most appreciated. Good to see you on board tonight, watching the show. So take a look. You look at the GFS. A lot of times, we look at these models, and I always think it's important to pay attention to it. Oftentimes in the long range, you see them wrapping up these storms into big systems. Here we are in the short range, and the fact that it isn't doing that is something that I think is worth paying attention to. If you look at the GFS for tomorrow afternoon at 2 p.m., look where the low center's at about 26.1 and 92.6. It's just a broad low. It's a closed isobar. All the rain is again to the east of that low. And then tomorrow evening, you've got two weak centers being indicated by the model. So if the model's not able to grab onto something here and really wrap it up and deepen it, I think that's worth noting. And this is why I am not really all that bullish from the standpoint of intensification here. The rain is going to be an issue, clearly. And you see what happens once it moves inland. This is Saturday evening. And then the GFS, there's still a lot of tropical moisture flowing out of the Gulf of Mexico going into Sunday and Monday. So you're going to see, a little bit, you're going to see the showers and storms probably flare up again during the daytime hours. But what appears to be what's left of an identifiable center Monday evening is in northeast Georgia. Then it kind of goes into interior North Carolina. You could barely find it because now, Joe, on Monday you got the next cold fronts already. Look at the next cold front. It's already moving past Chicago and into Indiana and south of St. Louis, and that's going to be. Right. There's a front on Saturday that we have to get back to, but this is the front behind that one that's going to be moving east. It just basically sweeps everything out. And I wonder if on Tuesday could be some decent. Decent's always the wrong word. Let's just say the potential maybe that there could be some strong thunderstorms with this front when it comes through on Tuesday. But we still have to deal with Saturday first.
Well, the categorical outlook for thunderstorms on the GFSX, the extended GFS, had something like a 33% probability of thunderstorm activity on Saturday. And yet, for Tuesday, which is well beyond Saturday, they actually had it up in the 40s for probability of thunderstorms. So, yeah, it would not be at all surprising if on Tuesday we actually did have more than just, let's say, a marginal risk that we might actually make it into the slight risk of severe weather, if not here, certainly close by. So those are the two dates to watch for thunder bumper activity, I think, will be Saturday and again next Tuesday.
By the way, we have a new advisory from the Hurricane Center, 23.2, 92.3. Still holding top winds at 30 miles an hour, which makes complete sense considering what the satellite is showing. and moving north at 9. So this is the intermediate advisory. So they certainly you're not going to get this is not going to get upgraded at 11 o'clock. I can't see anything on the satellite that would suggest that in the next 3 hours, or unless there's some renegade rowboat out there with an anemometer that sends back something with, oh, I had 50 knots here. Okay. But there you have it, at least as far as the track is concerned. So oftentimes with these storms, you're going to see and hear all sorts of things. You've heard my never to be humble opinion. You've heard Joe's never to be humble opinion about what we think about this. And, that pretty much covers it. Now let's talk about the heat. I'm going to bring up the hazards map. If I can do it before 8 o'clock, I can pull up the max temperatures, because at 8 o'clock they get wiped. At 0Z they get wiped clean, which is very frustrating. But this is going to take me a moment to set up. But while I'm doing that, you can certainly opine on just how gorgeous it was today. From New England down to Georgia.
Okay.
And by the way,
are you going to sing? Are you going to sing us a song like Carol?
No,
what's her name? Vicki Lawrence.
Right. No, Newark right now, by the way, is 79 with a dew point of 39. Andover is 76 with a dew point of 40. Long Island dew points are a little bit higher. They're up about 50 or 51. James H., thank you for hitting Super Chat tonight. Most appreciated. All is well. Thank you so much for doing that. And I appreciate the videos you send when you go storm chasing. This man storm chases. He was driving down toward Delaware into some of those thunderstorms earlier this week in South Jersey. I give him a lot of credit. Let's put it that way. Yeah. I give him a lot of credit, because that's something at least now, maybe when I was younger, I might have done that. All right, let me get these high temperatures up. I got the geography, but go ahead, opine while I get the high temperatures up.
What do you want? Do you want me to opine about specifically weather, or should I?
I want you to say how magnificent the weather was today.
Oh, well, it was absolutely magnificent. Yesterday was magnificent. Today is magnificent. Tomorrow, by the normal standards, we would categorize tomorrow as magnificent, although I don't think quite as magnificent as what we had today, or especially yesterday. But still, it's going to be a great day to be out and about. And then we'll see things. I'm not sure whether or not toward the end of the day tomorrow, we might begin to see, in advance of the next change of air masses, some high clouds in our sky, which will lower and thicken tomorrow night. And we may begin to see a couple of showers around here after midnight tomorrow night into early on Saturday. And that's going to be an issue if you're wondering about possible thunderstorms on Saturday afternoon and evening, because the more showery it is early Saturday, the more stable the atmosphere is going to become, and the more difficult it will be to rev things up in terms of convection here later Saturday or Saturday evening with possible thunderstorm activity. But we shall see on that. But a lovely stretch of weather continuing through the end of this week.
Palm Springs. Joe, let's play Guess That Temperature. Guess what Palm Springs high was today.
Oh, dear me. 113.
124.
124.
124.
They sure could have used those. They sure could have used those showers in that episode of I Love Lucy today. That's for sure.
Yeah. Right now, the temperature's off the highs of the day now at 118. It got to 124 degrees. I can't even comprehend that. Now, next to, we went here yesterday.
And that's in the shade.
And right.
That's in the shade.
Yes. Can you imagine? I've been to Palm Springs. It's beautiful, but yeah, it gets hot. Next to CMS in Baker in Nevada, 120. 123 in Saratoga Spring. There's so little water up there. They don't have even. It's not even plural like in upstate New York. It's just one spring,
No,
Saratoga Spring,
yeah,
123.
it's
Let's see,
yeah,
Joshua Tree
the governor
National.
of California. The governor of California did a news conference today in a place in some kind of a lake,
Hmm.
and he said that right now I should be under 40 feet of water, and it looked like the lake was more like a broken, dry desert, dry
Yeah,
bed. I mean, you talk about drought. I mean, that was it right there.
yeah. I saw a few stories over the last couple of days showing same thing where they showed you where the water should be and where it was, and yeah, it should be 20 or 30 feet deep, and you could basically walk across it. That's crazy. That's how serious the drought is out there. Joshua Tree National Park, 118, and right now they are at 118. Buckeye Municipal Airport, not too far from Phoenix, is 113. Phoenix Deer Valley Municipal Airport, 115 was the high. They're at 113 right now. Phoenix. Now, I don't know why this shows up as Phoenix when I go down, pretty good distance further south. It says FW2673 is the identifier, and it says Phoenix. But it's not Phoenix. 120, and the right now, and the max temperature was 121. I mean, you get the idea, folks. I mean, these numbers are ridiculous. I mean, they're just
How about
absolute.
Tucson?
Um,
Tucson is south of Phoenix.
right.
Is that 114 that I'm seeing there?
Let's see. Yes, 114 in Phoenix, and they are currently 114. I see Ruthless Goat is on the board, so let's check out what's going on up in the in Colorado. We've got the numbers are going to pop off the screen in about 3 minutes, so we're running out of time here. Let's see, 101 in Keensburg. Boulder is missing for some reason. Up near Fort Collins, Loveland, 106. The high, 91 at the moment, with a dew point of 43. Greeley Weld County Airport is 97 right now. They were at 106. A lot of stations in the southeast and southwestern corner of the state topping out over the 100-degree mark. In Utah, let's head up to Salt Lake City, 95, which is the current temperature and the high. Severe, Severe, severe or Sevier Reservoir, 99. If anybody's watching from Utah, if you know the pronunciation, you can send me an email about the correct way to do it. 99 is the current temperature. They're at 103. 105 in Sphinx Siding, Utah. Sphinx Siding, which is US 6 at milepole 296. 105. They actually got a thermometer on the milepole. Go figure. So you can. Oh, I see a 125. What's that 125? Okay, this is near Stovepipe Wells, California. And the elevation there is only 800 feet, by the way. 125 was the high. Currently 124 with a dew point of 23, a relative humidity of 3%. 3%. Okay. Not 4%, not 5%. 3.
3.
3 is the number of the count, and the number of the counting shall be 3. Thou shalt not count 1, nor thou shalt not count till 2, lest thou proceedeth to 3.
And there you are.
Right. 5 is right out. If you know the movie that's from, you should know it. All right, enough with this because it's 8 o'clock, and guess what? The numbers have all disappeared. They're all gone. All right, let's go back to WPC. I'm sorry, let's go back to SPC. And this is, and I want to go to what's going on because we actually do have some severe weather going on tonight, so we should mention that. They've got SPC's got an enhanced risk in northeastern Iowa, basically the upper Mississippi Valley and the western part of the Great Lakes, and enhanced risk in northeast Ohio, southeastern Minnesota, southwestern, a good chunk of the southern part of Wisconsin and northwestern Illinois. The tornado risk there in the enhanced area is 5%. The wind risk is the hatched 30, so that means that there's potential here for gusts of 65 knots or higher. And in the hatched area of hail, also in the enhanced, we're talking about hail, a 10% or greater probability of hail 2 inches or more in diameter. So this is pretty, could be a pretty strong outbreak here. For tomorrow, you have enhanced risk from east central Illinois right to the east across central Indiana and a good chunk of the state of Ohio in enhanced. Slight risk into western PA, marginal risk into central PA. The slight risk goes all the way back into northern Missouri. You see the slight risk in southern Louisiana. And then for day 3, that just carries on to the east. And at the moment, marginal risk. I everything you said before, Joe, I agree with. You got to watch that warm front Friday night into Saturday morning. If you wind up with some development ahead of that, that could stabilize the atmosphere enough so that when the front comes, it doesn't have a whole lot to work with. But if that winds up being a non-event or a minor event Friday night into Saturday morning, then we could wind up with at least a marginal risk, and maybe they'll squeeze in an area of slight risk in there someplace.
Yeah, I think that that certainly is the takeaway from all of this. Again, is all depends upon what we see here tomorrow night into early on Saturday morning. And if we don't have very much, then maybe we may start, or maybe SPC will start off the day with that broad swath of marginal. But if we get a lot of sunshine breaking through during the midday hours, and if we didn't get all that much in the way of showers to kick off the day, yeah, you may see an additional slight risk somewhere in that green swath that you see right now on your screen.
And as far as Tuesday is concerned, by the way, they don't have anything on there day 4 through 8 at the moment. Just predictability is too low.
Really too low.
Yeah. I mean, it's very rarely do you see them put something up in the Northeast outside of the day 3 time frame. Fled Weather says, why was that 125 next to a 94? Maybe weather station the settings are off. You know what? Without seeing exactly where it is, Fled, but it's possible that it also could be elevation where the 95 was. Maybe that was, on some mountaintop somewhere. The 125 was down at a lower level. So that's probably because you get a lot of that out there when you pulling up some of these obs, especially in Southern California. So I'm going to bet you that both numbers are correct. It's just that one was probably elevation, and the 94 was probably from some place that was, way up, as opposed to the 125, which was probably down somewhere on the valley floor. That's my guess.
I don't understand how anybody could live in California. I mean, in the wintertime, they get battered by Pacific storms and storms that bring, let's say, a few inches of rain. And for us, we've seen that, but it doesn't cause cataclysm. But if you're in Los Angeles or some of the larger metropolitan areas, 3 inches of rain, everybody says, oh, it's like Noah's Ark or whatever like that. That's what you get during the wintertime. And then in the summer, you get subjected to all of this with the extreme heat and the drought. And it's crazy. And let's throw in an occasional earthquake just to,
just for laughs. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So I pulled up the upper air so we could take a look at this. And of course, this deep trough in the east. Remember, the westerlies went all the way down almost into northern Florida. You don't usually see troughs this deep and this far south. That obviously lifts out. But the next one is already, swinging around. This is for late Saturday. It's not a bad-looking shortwave here that comes on through. I mean, I've seen stronger ones, but it's got a little punch to it. Then that plays on through, and then a deeper trough. You got a strong upper low that forms near Hudson Bay, and drops down. I mean, Joe, it brings the westerlies again all the way down into northern Florida by next Tuesday. I mean, look at this trough. It's just, the amplitude here is crazy. The flow, I'm going to just draw a line just to throw the if you follow the flow, which we like to, I like to say that a lot in the wintertime when we're looking at these upper air mass, but take a look. I mean, your upper air winds are coming straight out of the Arctic down into the southeastern part of the United States. This is going to be another shot of dry air, somewhat on the cool side, depending on your location. That swings into the east. This trough, by the way, this next one for the middle part of next week, it's oriented a little differently than what we just had. So it makes this big plunge, and then it starts to pull out almost immediately, but it's still hanging around there on Thursday, and then it lifts out, and then suddenly the flow across the United States weakens. The upper low in Canada retreats north of northernmost Hudson Bay. You do have a bit of a jet here. This is for next Sunday. But you do have a little bit of a jet here with shortwave troughs moving along it. So that'll, if this verifies, it's hard to see how it's going to get hot. And, I mean, look at this. It forms another upper low in the western lakes that pivots around into the northeast on the last day of the month. So if you're looking for hot weather between now and the end of June, other than the odd day like Saturday, this coming Saturday, where if we get enough sun, temperatures will probably shoot up to between 85 and 90. That's it. I mean, you're going to get that odd day. And this is probably the third or fourth model run in a row that suddenly starts to build a ridge in the eastern part of the United States, or at least in the southeastern part of the United States and along the Gulf Coast during the first few days of July. But you still got a bit of a flow coming out of Canada. And the good news out in the west is that the heat ridge, which looks like this right now, starts to very slowly flatten out and weaken going through the weekend and into next week. I mean, there's still some ridging there, but it's a little bit weaker, and then it just continues to weaken as we go through next week. And actually have a nice-looking trough that drops down the west coast a week from Saturday. You have to wait a while, but that's what happens sometimes when you get into these heat ridges. They hang around and they take forever to break down.
Yes, I just opened up just a few seconds ago the Briller Jeopardy question for you, Joe, tonight, and it's another one of these long. By the time I'm finished reading the instructions and the directions, it'll be about 15 minutes.
Okay, well, I'll run through the surface GFS. Since we've already kind of covered the upper air, we sort of know how this is all going to play out. One more really nice day in the Northeast for tomorrow. Well, you mentioned about high clouds. That was my concern for later tomorrow afternoon, that you start to see some blow off from those Ohio Valley thunderstorms where we have the severe weather risk, that we might see some high cloudiness start to come in. And then, of course, the approaching warm front, which the GFS kind of minors out to an extent. The NAM has more actually happening with the warm front than with the cold front. So if you wake up Saturday morning and it's lightning and thunder all over the place, that probably pretty much cinches it that you're not going to see very much during the afternoon and evening. The GFS is a little more bullish with it during the evening hours. Sunday looks good for Father's Day. You can see the southern moisture from whatever happens with that potential tropical cyclone at this point, spreading some rains into the southeastern part of the U.S., but does certainly look manageable here. And here's the cold front for Tuesday, which arrives with showers and thunderstorms Tuesday evening. Then that moves out, and then it's another dry high. A nice big high comes down, a 1026 high in northern Pennsylvania with a 5. Did I see a 552 thickness before? Let me see. I tried to remember. Yeah, 552 thickness. So this is going to be, let me look at the dew points. Let's look at the dew points here. Just again. So this is next Wednesday night. Let's take a look and see what kind of dew points we have. With that deep trough going all the way down. Oh my God, it's just ridiculous. Look at this. It's going to be another It's going to be like, just like what we have now. So, Joe, it's got dew points in the 40s, down into North Carolina. I have a 53 dew point here Thursday morning and a 51 dew point Thursday afternoon. New York City has a 40. Look at that. It's got a 40 dew point Wednesday morning. Okay. 42 Thursday morning, sits at 40 all day, and still in the 40s on Friday of next week. So if you liked what just happened, guess what? It's going to happen again.
I'm thinking about, living in Throgs Neck back in the early 70s, the hazy, hot, humid days, 90, 95 at night, hoping the temperatures drop to below 80, listening on News Radio 88 about turning off all air conditioning and brownouts, rolling brownouts, and how Big Alice. Remember that big Con Edison plant in Queens? They've referred to it as Big Alice.
Yeah.
Oh, there's dangers that Big Alice may be shut down or whatever. And then you have what we have going on right now. I mean, if what we're going to see here with the low dew points and the pleasant temperatures, this is an artifact of climate change and possibly even global warming. I'll take this.
By the way, when you and I were kids in Throgs Neck in those days, that was at a time when New York City was far more industrial. I mean, it's not industrial at all anymore, but that was
right.
That was a time when there were a lot of factories producing a lot of smog, a lot of smoke up into the air, and when it got hazy, there were times where it was it was tough to breathe, especially in the heat. So
right.
It's not quite like it's not like that anymore. But back then, when it got hot and humid, you suffered.
It was bad to such a degree that the Daily News, along with their weather page, they also had something called air decks, and they would show you like this. It would be a little box that show you the skyline of New York, the silhouette of the skyline, and it would show you the amount of how high the filth was, and the higher up that the filth was, the worse the air would be. Like good, excellent, fair, poor. And if memory serves me, almost every time I opened the page to air decks, it was always either in the fair or poor category. I mean, it was disgustingly polluted back then. You're right, because we don't have as much industrial factories going on now. We don't quite see that anymore, but those were the days, my friends. We thought they'd never end, but they did. So
all right, let's let's roll with Briller Jeopardy. All the best to Scott and his mom, by the way.
And so he says, "Hi, Joe. The other night we did top 10 retail stores for Mr. Chaffee. Tonight we do top 10 online retail sales in the U.S. Now, he provides three, and he puts this in block letters, 3 big hints. Number one, 2 of the retailers that you mentioned the other night that were wrong make this list. That's number one. Number 2, 5 out of the top 10 retail stores that you guessed makes the online list. And 3, after her great hints the other night, you may use a lifeline with Renata. My guess is you will need it for number 6. And if Mr. Chaffee can get at least 8 out of 10 correct, like Mr. Rayo last night, he gets to choose a prize behind door number 1, door number 2, or door number 3. And by the way, you will not be able to get a lifeline from Miss Renata because Miss Renata is at the German club tonight. She is helping to make preparations for the big German Fest or Oktoberfest, which for whatever reason comes in September. I don't know why, but it's the big fest, and she needs to be there. So she's not here tonight to help.
All right, so let's get number 1 out of the way. So that's Amazon.
That is number 1.
Okay. So he said he said that one of the ones that I mentioned that was wrong.
He said that 2 of the retailers that you mentioned the other night,
right,
that'd be on Tuesday night, that were wrong, make this list.
All right. So if I remember correctly, I mentioned Best Buy,
which is there. It's number 7.
Okay. And the other one I mentioned was Macy's.
And Macy's is there too. That's at the bottom of the list at number 10.
Okay, so now there's a bunch of them that are on the
Five of the
right.
10 that were on the other list are here tonight
Okay,
for your
so I
edification.
assume if Apple is listed as was number 9, well, they do have Apple stores, so I'll say Apple.
And you got it right. That's number 4 on the list.
Okay, so that's right. So there were 5 on that list that are on this list. So let's add Walmart and Target.
Target is number 8. Walmart is number 2.
Okay, Walmart, Target. All right, so I got 6. All right, so there's 5 of them here. Okay, so five that were on the top 10 list. So I will say Costco. I'm not sure about
Costco's
Costco.
number 9.
Okay.
Number 9.
All right, so that gives me 7 right there. Let me check these off.
I agree with Scott. Number 6 is a toughie. You're gonna have to dig for number
So
6.
two more of these online retailers, two more of these big box retailers are on this list. If I got this right, I got 4: Walmart, Target, Costco, Apple. Okay, Amazon, Best Buy, and
Right.
Macy's. So I'm just
Right.
I'm gonna skip. Well, I'll go to Home Depot.
Home Depot is right in the middle at number 5.
Okay. So if Home Depot's there, the next one logically, I guess, would be Lowe's.
And guess what, Joe?
It's not there.
Right.
Yeah, I wasn't sure about Lowe's, but I got 8. Okay, so there's 2 left. Number 6, and what's the other one? No, which other number? Number 6, and what's the other? What number else am I missing?
I think number 3.
Number 3? Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder if one of the drugstores are on here. So, 1, 2, 3. Home Depot was on there. That's 4. So, either Walgreens or CVS. All right, I'll say Walgreens.
And you will be wrong.
Oh, that's 2 now.
Walgreens not. I'm going to give you a hint.
Okay.
For number 6.
Okay, go ahead.
It's a baseball game, and you hit a ball high and deep, about 30 feet to the. You hit a ball to right field, high and deep over the fence, about 30 feet to the left of the foul pole.
Okay.
Again, you hit that ball to right field. If you're doing the play-by-play, you would say that ball was what? If it was well to the left of the foul pole in right field.
Well, to the left
That
of
ball-
that ball is a
That
foul
ball was no. If you hit the ball to right field,
right.
and it was left of the foul
Oh,
pole,
left of the foul pole. Okay.
right, then you would say that ball was there was no question about it. That ball was
Fair.
all right. So you got half of the.
I got
You got
half of the fair. Wayfair?
Way fair. Boy, that ball was way fair.
Oh,
No
Wayfair.
problem.
Okay.
Yeah, way fair.
All right, so that leaves me now with 1 left.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
That leaves me with 1 left, and it's on the list that I had yesterday. So, you've got Kroger, Albertsons, Walgreens. I know that Walgreens is in it, and that leaves CVS.
Is that your final answer?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how much online business Kroger does, even though they're the number 2 retailer. So let's say Kroger.
Would you like an?
I'll just say
Would you like
Kroger.
another? You're gonna go say Kroger? Because I
Give
was
me
gonna give you a hint.
give me a hint.
I'll give you.
Give me the
I'll
hint.
give you a hint. On my wall right now, I have from a science fair that I had won many years ago, a film strip that landed on the moon with astronaut Alan Bean, who was the third man to walk on the moon.
Yeah, I remember you just
And
talking about this.
I'm seriously considering. Now, this is just for the point of reference as to help you out in here. But if I was seriously considering selling this,
Oh, eBay.
where do you think would be?
eBay.
Da 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 da. And there you go.
All right. Well, I got 8. I got the 8 that I needed to get.
Right.
And
So now you get to. So now you get a chance for door number 1, door number 2, or door number 3.
Oh, door number 1, door number 2, or door number 3.
Right.
All right. I was always partial to door number 2, so I will take door number 2.
Door number 2. Well, first, let's see what was behind the door that you didn't choose. Door number 1, a 5-day, all-expense-paid trip to go fishing on any lake in the United States.
Okay.
And now we're going to, before we see what door number 2 has, let's go to door number 3. Door number 3, oh, and I know you really would enjoy this, Joe. 2 Adirondack chairs reserved solely for just you and Alan Casper to watch an incoming lake effect snowstorm in Redfield or Pulaski, New York, or is it Pulaski, New York, next winter.
Okay.
And finally, door number 2. I don't know. This sounds like the booby prize. Door number 2, 100 jars of ragu pasta sauce.
Oh, no, 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 no.
Wow,
Wah, 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 wah. Oh, boy. Talk about that. Well, I have said this. I have said this many times before, and I'll say it again. If you use jarred sauce, we simply can't be friends. Oh, Joe, guess what? Look who just popped in on the screen.
The dog?
I know you're on a delay, but
Yes.
guess she'll pop up on the screen at any moment. Here she comes. And by the way, that silver coffee and tea set was probably from the Michael C. Fina Company.
Michael C. Fina Company.
Uh-oh.
What?
Not to be outdone. Not to be outdone here, because you know that she always gets the most attention here, but she's also here tonight, Mrs. Bundy. I guess that's Mrs. Bundy. That's her reaction when she heard that I won the jar of ragu spaghetti, the jar of ragu tomato sauce.
Why don't you ask her how many species of birds there are that are going to kill us?
Oh my God, I did something. I can't get rid of her. Hang on a second. I got to bring us back.
She looks like William Bendix in drag.
All right, you know what? Enough of Mrs. Bundy. For those of you who don't know that is a scene from The Birds. Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds, and this is Carol Merrill.
Because there are 8,650 species of birds in the world today, Mr. Carter, it is estimated that 5,750,000,000 birds live in the United States alone. The 5 continents of the world, kill them all, kill those messy animals, probably contain more than 1 trillion birds.
Oh God,
100 billion actually.
that was fun.
100 billion.
That was fun. And you know what made it more fun, Joe?
Yes.
Do you know what
What?
made Do you know what made that more fun? The fact that Mr. Ruben Fairchild just posted that he all these old show and references hate it.
Oh, then we
That
must.
made it.
We
That we
must.
must do more.
We must do more. We
So
must do more.
so anyway, Joe and I discussed yesterday because we normally don't do a show on Friday, and we are not going to do a show on Sunday because Sunday is Father's Day, and for all the dads on the chat board, have an absolutely great Father's Day. But we decided that given the system that's in the Gulf of Mexico, we will do a show tomorrow night. We might do it a little bit earlier than 7:30. Maybe we'll do it at 7 or at 6:30. That'll depend on Joe. But just
Let's do it at 7.
7. Okay, so tomorrow night, folks, 7 o'clock Eastern time. Okay.
Yes.
And we'll do a Friday night show. We probably every time I say it's not going to be a long show, it always winds up being like an hour and a half. So, in theory, it will not be a long Friday night show. We'll talk about the tropical storm, and we'll talk, or if there is one, and we'll talk about, of course, the possibility of severe weather on Saturday with the weather front coming through the Northeast, and we'll do a quick long range look into next week. All right.
Wait a minute, Joe. Wait a
Yes.
minute.
Yes.
As soon as you said that it's going to be a short show, Mr. Ruben Fairchild posted on the chat board, good news. So I now say let's try for a 2-hour show tomorrow night, and make sure you bring a listing of all of your favorite old movies.
No,
all
you know what?
50 or 100.
Right. We'll read the plot lines to every episode of I Love Lucy, all 179 episodes.
Oh, see, there you go. How would anybody want to miss that?
Oh, good God, no. Okay.
All right.
So I think that kind of covers it, and we'll see everybody tomorrow night, 7 o'clock Eastern time. Have a great evening. Thanks for being here, Anthony Orr, Michael McGuire, James Harris, James H. All hitting super chat tonight, and I think I got everybody. There's James H. And of course, I can't see everybody else. I think I got everyone that hits. Yeah, James H., Michael McGuire, and Anthony Orr. Thank you for the super chat hits. Joe and I will see you tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. Nighty night, everybody.
Night night.